Okay, been a while. TLDR. Recorded this entire episode and found out, whoops, no audio from my mic. Not sure how that happened, but anywho. This I believe is episode 4, and this is the Kenshi 101 series. It's been a busy time, so I haven't been able to get back to this to re-record audio. Anywho, ended up resting all characters, getting them to full health, exercising a little bit in the second story, getting everyone up to better stats. Well, not everyone, mostly just Hammett. Anywho, the contract doesn't expire for a while. Got 55k left, which is more. Is it more? No, yeah, I think it is more than I started with when I got to the city. 'Cause I sold some stuff. But got the contract of the 2 different groups. Gonna get out of here, go to Bast, or eventually. I think at this point in the original audio I was talking about, I could go south and, get out of here. But I'd have to go through God, what would suck, a big thing. Or I'd have to go through the Iron Sands or the Acid Rain or something nasty. Anywho, gear-wise, I'm doing pretty good. Took the armored hood off Beep because his current helmet is better against everything except for weather. But I'm not gonna have to deal with weather for a while. There was a fight over here. If I remember correctly, I do a bit of looting. Anywho, plan at this point is just to loot as much stuff as possible. And check the skeleton doctor limbs. He doesn't really have anything that good. He's got a really good masterwork stealth leg, but I don't need any leg. None of his arms are that good. Specialist arm is only like it gives you a dex increase only 3% to unarmed. But that's about it. It's not great. And I'm going to save my money, end up getting a better arm eventually. That's like a industrial heavy lifter arm, or possibly one of the KLR series. And ideally masterwork, not specialist. Because like it's a huge difference going up from grades. And that dex would help with that Wakazasi, but it's giving a huge negative to all these other stats where it's like, eh. The normal skeleton-based limbs are not that good. You really want to go for either stealth or heavy lifter or KLR for this pure, bulk. The stealth stuff does increase your speed a little tiny bit, but it's mostly good because it increases stealth a whole lot. And with stealth legs plus high enough base level stealth, you can just go super fast in stealth mode. It's amazing. Remove almost all of the negative speed penalties from stealth and just like run past people while invisible. And by the time they notice you, they can't react. You're gone. So, kind of tempted to get that, but it would add a lot of carry weight and it costs a lot of money. And we're gonna want to save that carry weight for stuff we're about to go get. Sell elsewhere. Plus, I can probably find a ton of them with the robots, people in the deadline. Anyway, I think originally I was talking a bit about uh, robot limbs, but less concise way. Uh, I was gonna go check out the bars. Ah, yes. Oh, right. I hadn't hired the second group yet. So I do end up hiring a group of mercenaries. There's also some Snowy thieves, no one else that interesting here. But second group of mercenaries was a big help. It was the two groups. That's about what? I think there's 8 of these guys. And then I think we have 5 tech hunters. So it's about 8K. Well, 4K a day, 8K for 2 days each for the two different groups combined. And that's kind of expensive. But if I can get like one really good high quality sword or from a fallen samurai, that'll pay for it. If I can get one high quality, like specialist grade samurai armor, that'll pay for it. I'm gonna get a lot more than one. Anywho, continuing the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, fill up all the bags. So far, there's been very little actual fighting done. That's mostly looting things other people have killed. And we've gotten a lot of good stuff out of this. But this is, I believe, the first episode where I really start to like take on threats. That's because I have so many bodyguards. We're gonna get some experience. So, all this happened a while ago. This is not a recent fight. These guys have been down for a while. This was happening when we were resting up in the Thieves Guild. They didn't have that much good stuff. I think like a few of them had the armor, which is like the most valuable thing. It's worth like 350-ish. Yeah, 356. Yeah, these guys in general don't really have that much good stuff. Like, it's not completely worthless to loot them, but it's close. But they're good for training, they're good for experience. You can get a lot of experience fighting these guys because there's so many of them. Anywho, right now, all these guys are pups. We got 4 of them, ranging from, I believe, 11 to 12 or 13 mile per hour run speed for the bulls. Hammett and Beep running around 20. Ugh. I'm tired. Been busy applying to jobs and been staying up late trying to get all that done. Part of the reason I have time to do all this is IRL. I messed up my foot. Haven't been able to work for a while. And yeah. So caravans don't really want anything to do with those guys. I could go there and sell some stuff, but most of the stuff they consider stolen. Like from all of the people that took out. Plus I'm right next to the bar anyway. The traders have unusual, neutral attitudes towards a lot of things, where they'll consider something stolen, while other people wouldn't. Where like if you sell in the city has like much different view of stuff. So like if something is or isn't stolen is based off the relationship between the faction you're selling it with and the faction it belonged to. So if it's the Dust Bandits, nobody gets along with the Dust Bandits. So you sell Dust Bandit stuff, everyone's happy. If you take, say, uh, let's see, what's a good example? If you take something from, what is a good example? Hmm. If you take something from one of the swamp factions, so there's all these criminal factions in the swamp, and if you take something from one of them and try to sell it at the swamp cities, people won't be happy because they're like, hey, even though this is technically not part of the government of the city or whatever, because there really isn't a government, they're not going to be happy about it. They're going to put up a fit. That guy, what he's saying, it's not like an insult. It's like actual good life advice. If you, as you'll see later, if you piss off the nobles, they will fuck you up. And when you see them, it's best to immediately run the opposite direction as fast as you possibly can with more wide bursts. Because for no reason at all, they'll randomly decide to kill you. Sometimes. Not consistently, but sometimes. And of course, if you give them reason, they'll, kill you. And it takes a long time to be able to take them out. Anywho, thus begins the long, long journey to the war. So basically, you got two factions, right? You got the Empire, who is very pro-slaver, very pro let's make money. Uh, this a civilized faction, but they're not exactly a good faction, but it's better than chaos. And there was another faction called the Holy Empire, who's super religious fanatics, and they're a lot less good of a faction. They could be better to live under because they don't charge you taxes like the Empire does. But unlike the Empire, they are extremely racist and xenophobic and sexist. So, like, if you want to have a diverse party like I have with a bug man, they're gonna, be like, hey, this person should be a slave. You need to treat them like a slave. And if you don't treat them like a slave, you must be an infidel. And that creates problems. Want a robot? Infidel. Kill them all. So they are a bit less fun to live under. And just like you, the player, are probably gonna eventually come to conflict with one or both groups. Both groups come to conflict with each other. And where this conflict is vast. Once upon a time, there was a ton of great cities in Basque, and now there is a small war camp and a watchtower, a few broken cities that have a few scavengers who go in them. But, like, nobody really lives in Bast, other than that one camp, which is mostly destroyed and militarized. It's sort of like a city after it's got bombarded and everyone's left except for the military. Pretty sad place to be. Anywho, I was not being careful because I didn't feel like I needed to be careful. Because if these guys show up and wanted to fight, my guards could take them out. This is exactly what's happening. You could avoid this by spending more time looking painstakingly where all their little heads are popping out of the ground. Or you could just not bother and run into them every now and then if you can take them in a fight, no problem. But at this point, I don't want to do that too many times because these guys, like, sort of have a lot of guards. They're all gonna get worn down. Also, if they hurt their legs too much, they'll get separated from the group. This will be a problem. As you'll see later on. Foreshadowing. Anywho, should have a fair amount of time left. Mercenaries, bounty hunters. So, bounty hunters are interesting. If you end up getting tons of bounties on you, they will come after you. But other than that, they're probably gonna leave you alone. They might even stop to heal you sometimes. But if you are, for instance, an enemy of the Holy Nathan could put bounties on you. So if you run into a bounty hunter, they might decide to go after you to turn you into the Holy Nathan, or the Empire, or the slave traders, which can be frustrating because they are not quite as good as mercenaries, but they're better than a lot of other groups you run into. I think my current group of bodyguards could take that group of bounty hunters, but like it'd be a hard fight. People would go down on both sides. Got some vagrants to the left. Mistook that guy for a sand ninja for a second with the basket over his head. And sand ninjas will be hostile to you if you run into them, while these bounty hunters won't, as long as you don't have a bounty on. And, you know, neutral relations are better. I was hoping these guys would fight and I could loot someone. But if I remember correctly, they did, but it took a while, and I'm not sure if I stuck around for it. Sometimes you're just like, why do these people not see each other? What's wrong with this game? Like, seriously. That'd be like right next to each other. Well, the armor is worth something. Not a whole lot, but something. Anywho, the journey continues. Got a decent amount of loot, but nothing great. Enough to like just barely cover our costs, or maybe just under cover our costs in mercenaries. And this is something you gotta pay attention for. As soon as the contract ends, you can talk to the leader and be like, hey, let's keep this up. Unless the leader goes down, in which case you're fucked. So kept the animals running, and the people kept up. The animals are the slowest link in the train. Thing that slows us down. Once you get enough strength, you can carry them and run with them. And with some of your faster characters, if they have enough strength, they can carry the animal and not be overweight and still run at max speed, which is ridiculous. Like carrying a beak speed at like 50 miles an hour on foot. It's ridiculous. Huh. I think if I remember correctly, I do stop in the nearby city. That's because it allows me to empty my inventory, so when I get eventually to where I'm going, I can move more stuff. I was just thinking, maybe I should fast forward this. This part's kind of slow. Starving vagrant. Anywho, what I'm trying to do here is sort of similar to what Pesley's trying to do, which is take a game that's extremely hard to get into and extremely hard to learn all the stuff in, and teach you enough stuff so that you can play the game and get everything done that you need to get done and survive, and not go in, die very quickly, and quit the game because you're like, what the fuck, this is too hard. But, you know, Tarkov kind of feels that way sometimes. Kenshi kind of feels that way sometimes, and it takes a certain type of person to, like, know life, play, die over and over and over until you learn all this shit. And, anywho. So, Vaporeon did not have a backpack, which now he does, which is a very big deal. We got 4 backpacks, and I have 50k left, but sell all this stuff, gonna be back above what I was. I think the cost of what, 2,500 ish. Anywho, there's not that much more stuff I could do in this city. Need to get the bath. I could go to the bar and see if I can hire some more mercenaries, but I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna actually hire them. I think I might check them out. I don't remember. Anywho, I only have so much time till the mercenaries run out, and time is money. Gotta get that loot while I can. Not waste too much time. Be efficient. So one of the good things about this get up on all these guys is it's all very, very low weight. I think at this point I was talking about armor, but I don't remember exactly in the first recording. But like I think I said this in an earlier episode, but you always want to get really lightweight on lower levels because you need to be able to run away from stuff, and that's going to be a big deal. Like 1 or 2 miles an hour difference can be the difference between escaping from an enemy and not, especially human enemies. That's his bones. So you can see there's a group of people nearby me, and I believe, yeah, those are heroes. So I could go fight them. I mean, I could just go right next to them. They'd attack me eventually. But that would take some time, and I want to conserve my bodyguards. Also, this place here, like, there really should be something here. Like, look at this thing. It's like a giant metal sea star or something. Like, space station, fossil, I don't know. It's huge. And it's like no anything here to look at or mess around with. Kind of sad. Like, no loot, no, not. Anywho, the Skinners started attacking those guys. So early on, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna mess with them. But with the Skinners doing most of the work for me, it's less problem. It's less of a big deal. So the two Skinners are gonna do most of the work. And then I can go and loot. Because, like, there's a decent amount of stuff between them all. The clubs are worth something. Sometimes you'll get standard grade mercenary armor, which is kind of heavy, but we got a lot of pack animals. Sometimes you'll get, like, decent helmets or decent samurai claws pants. But right about here, I started to be like, okay, I don't want my mercenaries and tech hunters to help heal all these people and get hit. I want these people to die, and then my guys to come in and clear it up if I need to. But yeah, these guys are fucked. And like, time is money, but there's like 3 Skinners that I'm going to be able to loot, and close to a dozen of these manhunters. I don't know why I said heroes, but potato potato. They're both gonna attack you because you look like a slave. Alright, so they're down. Now it's just me and a couple injured Skinners, and apparently one guy limping. So something I'm doing right now is trying to like when you don't have full packs, it can be easier to sort things as you loot. With have certain pack animals take certain types of loot. Like one guy takes all the stuff to get to sell, and then another guy takes all the food and stuff that you're not gonna sell, and then another guy takes like all the weapons and armor, you know, for spares or whatever. And that way, when you go to market and sell, you don't have to like look at every single item and know like what's what. You don't have to do as much work sorting stuff because it's already pre-sorted. But it takes more time to loot that way, which eventually you'll see can come back to bite you. I mean, not always, but it can. Anywho, going through the stuff, seeing the value of this, the sell value, seeing what's worth taking, what's not worth taking. Every now and then one of those guys are getting up, but it's not going to really matter too much because they're manhunters. They aren't that important of a factor. They have a few places the manhunters control and the slaver faction control, but like I'm not too worried about it. Speak of the devil, I'm just talking about Pestily and whoa, what do you know? Email alert, he's going live on Twitch. That's funny. Anywho, a lot of these guys don't really have too much worth looting. Like, the amount of space for the value, it just doesn't make any sense. So, like, besides worrying about weight, you also gotta worry about, like, number of squares taken for the value, and, like, just count up the squares and count up the value and do some basic math, and it's like, okay, 133 for that armor, but it takes up, like a ton of space. This doesn't make any sense. When, like, 2 medkits, like the little ones, that are full, would be about the same sell value and take up, like, less than a pence. Anywho. Continuing to go along. It's like somebody got taken out nearby. See a little bit of blood. Lots of little skinners roaming around. But this is one part where, on one hand, I kind of want to fast forward this, like in editing. But on the other hand, if I do that, like, it's no longer this long and edited thing where you have to see everything that's going on, all the decision making, and try to figure out, like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So that you can take that and use it in your own game and, like, learn. But, like, when I watch other stuff to try to figure out how do I play game X, how do I get better at this, that's something where, like, shooter games, everyone always edits it. So you're just seeing a couple seconds of action and then long amount of time skipped and a couple seconds of action, and you don't see, like, how did they get from point A to B, or, like, where are they looking for enemies, like, what are they looting, where are they moving, how, like, where are they, like, choosing to go and stop and rest and wait, etc. So this is the first group of samurai. It's a mix of the conscripts and samurais, and there should be 1 or 2 higher ranked samurais and some scouts. The guys that have scout. The guys that have always scout. So the scouts can have some really good gear. The samurais can have some really good gear, especially if you get the higher level samurais. But like samurai captains or whatever. But still, the naganatas on those conscripts are pretty good in value and also just as a weapon. And a lot of them have, like, really, really valuable naganatas every now and then. You'll find, like, 5K naganatas, which, great. Anywho, Beep still isn't really a fighter. His stats suck. And Fall, this trader here doesn't have any money, so I can't sell anything for money. Also, it said 42% fencing chance, so they do consider it stolen goods, even though, like, it's the Manhunters and not affiliated with them. So I'm just gonna put it in the bowl bag and get going. I can't. I'd have to buy stuff from these guys to get anything. And OBS had a problem. It ran out of storage space on my disk. This episode is cursed. So first recording, no audio. Second recording, ran out of space on the disk. On I got like the first part of the recording, but this is like part 2. So hopefully this is all gonna be okay. Anywho, I think I talked about selling stuff to fall and why I am or aren't going to do it. And I could sell stuff, but a lot of that stuff counts as stolen, and I'd have to buy stuff to give him money, and I'd still end up basically losing money in his trading stuff. So the only thing that really makes sense for would be I think the robot repair kits, because the buy sell value is equal. It's like a 1700 or something, and you could buy it for a price and sell it for the same price, meaning that there's no like loss. And there's a reason to do it, reason not to do it. And then right now I'm just running around looking for, people fighting. I'm checking dialogue, seeing if I see any people fighting in the dialogue, because that's what I'm here to find, the war. Anyway, I could buy and sell some stuff, but it'd be hard to sell $1,700 worth of stuff to then buy one of those. Especially since so much of what I have they consider stolen. I just don't want to mess around with it. Anywho, found some samurais, haven't found any holy nason yet. And the holy nason don't really have as good loot as the samurais do, but I'm much more happy to piss off the holy nason since I'm going to get robot arms than I am to piss off the Empire, who are useful as a pit stop when I'm in this area. Like, a little bit unhappy, okay. Like, I can do some bounties eventually, I can get back into good graces. But, like, I don't want to kill a noble, for instance. At least not early game. Because that means I'm at war with them forever. You can't pay off, whoops, I killed one of your nobles, whoops, I killed your emperor. So, these roaming bands are what I'm looking for. Them and their friends. Anywho, switch to a different bit rate and different, I'm using NVEC, like NVIDIA 264 as an encoder, because my version of OBS doesn't yet support X265, which is a shame. X265 is amazing. Anywho, so it was still using it, like it was using NVEC, it's still using NVEC, but now it's using what is it? CQB, which is like changing the bit rate up and down based on how much you need to do it. But since I'm just watching the recording and recording this for audio, and then gonna edit out all the videos, like potato. But hopefully lower size, not gonna run into problems again. Anywho, still looking around, not really seeing all that much, discover some hamlets. And there you go, Holy Nason. They haven't gotten into a fight yet, but the Holy Nason's over there. Got some samurais near me. Hopefully at some point they run into each other. And hopefully next episode is going to start looking a lot better. So if I'm messing around with NVEC to try to get better quality. Because whenever you, like, it looks great, and then I start moving it around, it looks less great. Peasants. So, Holy Nason are running around doing their thing, and they're very close to some samurais. so I kind of wish they'd fight, but I don't think they're going to start fighting. But that's what I'm here for. And the 1v1, roughly equal numbers, the samurais are usually going to win these fights. The lower tier guys, the chosen, which are basically just conscripts, and the sentinel people, which are just slightly better conscripts. Like, they're not paladin level. They aren't great. They have basically no armor for the tons and tons of conscripts. And then for the sentinels, they have very little arm and leg armor. It's decent chest armor and head armor. And what that means is they don't get a lot of cutting damage to the heads, chest, stomach, but they get a lot to their arms, so they're going to lose a lot of limbs. If they lose one limb, they can no longer two-handed wield those big swords, and then they're basically unarmed, which is, great. But they take a lot of bleeding damage. The armor on the samurais is better overall, covers wise. Like, samurai armor, it gives you more, like, in my opinion, better coverage. They're going to be wearing armor underneath. The lower tier guys with better armors, and the lower tier guys with the holy nays, and the weapons are, in my opinion, better because Naginata have more reach, which is a big deal. Because if I can hit you from farther away, I can start hacking, you can start defending. You have to close that distance, and that first strike ability and ability to attack from outside your range, it's like huge in this game. Anywho, Empire's right next to me, or an Empire patrol, and Holy Nathan just haven't started fighting them yet. They haven't ran up, so I'm gonna start running around the village, seeing what I can loot. Keep checking that chat, because when they do meet each other, they'll start, yelling and swearing. Ah, you hit me! My arm! Oh no! Curse you, infidel! Yada yada. Heck. So, I'm gonna start looting some stuff. It's not, like, too much good stuff, but there's some stuff. The armor plating's decent. Steel bars weigh a lot, but they're okay. Raw stone's basically garbage tier loot. I think a villager's side to get involved. It's like, oh no, you stole literal garbage that we aren't doing anything with. Oh no. Does it really make any sense? But they don't really have anything worth taking either, other than maybe the chains, which is kind of like, eh. But that's, a little bit value add. Those 90% weight reduction backpacks are amazing for pack animals. Like, it's insane. And as they level up, you're eventually going to reach a point where their strength stops leveling, because it's impossible for them to get strength XP from carrying stuff, because they just have so much carry capacity. Electrical components are a decent loot. They have a decent sell value. They're pretty light. All the metal plate stuff, its main problem is its weight is heavy. As is like the steel bars, a lot of the construction stuff. There's a lot of mass, a lot of weight. So it's not good. Books are pretty good loot. You can use them for science, but they also have a decent sell value. And it's one of those things where you can just sell every book you find, and then months later decide, oh, I think I need some books, and just go buy some. Like, there'll always be some merchants that you can buy from. So you're never going to run out of, like, all the books in the game. they're renewable. Anywho, that little bit of looting's done. Time to look, and nothing. Nothing in dialogue. Like there's a little bit of fight over here, but it's just outlaws. Just outlaws. So this is something you want to look out. Because you see a ton of samurais, you see a sergeant, which is one of those better ones that you want to loot if you get a chance to. But you don't see a lot of their people, which means those people got taken out. And there it is. Or not. Never mind. Bone dog. So somewhere that group of samurai already fought someone because they're not normally that small of a group. They normally, in this area at least, they normally have more people because it's, you know, like a military. They're here to fight people in the war, not like, what's that saying? Not here to fuck spiders. Ridiculous. So that small of a number means that there's some bodies around here somewhere. Those crossbows make decent loot because the ammunition is decently valuable for the weight and size. And every now and then, on some of them, you'll find decent ones. Like, not like these guys, but like on other people who carry crossbows. Like, mercenaries or, the red, what are they called? The crab people. The red something? Crab bandits? Yeah, crab bandits and the red... Not red ninjas. Are they red bandits? Might be red bandits. Might just be red bandits. Google. Red sabers. That's it. Yes. They sometimes have decent ones, but not like super often. They can. And they're the robot faction that has the really good ones. The snipers. Those are something where whenever I get a sniper, I never kill them. I always take them captive because if I can recruit them, their stupidly good, you know, sniping skill is just immediately valuable. And that's like, I never train anyone in, you know, crossbows. I only get eventually get to the snipers. Tons of people throw them at them. They'll shoot a few people. We'll get in close. Melee time. Maybe a few people will go down, have the medic take care of them while the rest of the group fight the snipers. Eventually take them down, take their stuff, fix them up, kidnap, and throw them in a jail cell, and then hopefully recruit them. Eventually. Anywho, back to looking for a fight. That's one of the fun things about this is like, not only does it have like a really cool giant map with all, oh, and there it is. That's what we're here for. That's, you know. Oh yeah, and I also found some bone dogs. So early on, I doubled the chance of running into these things. Every now and then you'll find like packs of bone dogs or like dens of various types of animals. And there'll be various things, you know, just hold all, you see where all the stuff is. Animal skins, meat is common, you know, the things that they've killed and ate, right? But you also find lots of stuff from people, like sometimes various weapons or armor that, you know, belong to somebody who got too close to a pack and died, got eaten, and all that's left is some of their gear. And also sometimes random stuff that they were carrying. So it can be a good way to get, you know, all sorts of random loot. You never know what you're gonna find. It's usually not like the best stuff in the game, but sometimes you'll find some really decent stuff. Way better than bandits. Anywho, while that fight's going on, there's not much of a rush because I don't want to be fighting while they're fighting. I want to be going in there afterwards to pick stuff up. So, dumping most of the stuff. Not the meat yet. Gonna throw that in Jolteon and try to keep all the meat in one place. At least temporarily. So I can just take a look and see how much we have, see how much food there is in one look. And then if I decide, hey, I need to get rid of some stuff, it's all in one area. Although eventually, I'm gonna, like, once you get out of space and you're like, any square, then you start changing that up a bit. Anywho, bone dogs are extremely risky to fight when you're low level like this. Like, if I didn't have all the bodyguards, I'm gonna just die there. Like, that many bone dogs is a real problem. And they will eat your limbs, or you, and you will, like, just constantly take damage as they eat you until they get distracted or you die. And then even if you die, they might keep eating you. So, you want to be careful with bone dogs. And any, you know, predators, like beak things. They'll just fuck you up. It looks like the fight's over. They're reforming. Holy Nation won, which is not ideal because now I'm looting a ton of samurais. But the samurais have better stuff, which not ideal, but still, like, I like good stuff. I like money. And some of those really nice Modachis, some of those really nice Naganatas, they're like worth a decent paycheck. I've gotten some really good, high quality gear from like samurai scouts and samurai sergeants and gate captains and hooded guys. Like every now and then you'll find like high or specialist grade, very occasionally masterwork on like the best of the best, like the hooded and the guards and hooded guard captains, gate captains, high ranking guys. Or, you know, if you piss off the ninjas or the samurai enough that they send an expedition against you, you might see some of the like high level samurais will fuck you up. And you'll be like, eh. Anywho, right now I'm checking all the bodies, saying like, okay, who's conscious, who's not conscious, who's dying, who can I loot, and also seeing, okay, stealing percent's 100, so I can loot that. No one's gonna, you know, freak out, right? And then after I loot all of the easy stuff, I start looting the samurais. But for now, Holy Nation, if they get pissed off, they're surrounded by samurai. Just one of these guys playing dead will get up and kill him. Plus, who cares if the Holy Nation get mad? It's not like word's gonna get out. All these guys, for the most part, are gonna die. At least for the Holy Nation. Right about this point is when I start, I think, start looting these guys. I'm gonna see who's conscious. That samurai playing dead could be a problem. But a lot of these guys, like he's gonna die. Like he's bleeding, he's gonna be bleeding out in seconds. Uh, that guy's gonna be fine, but he's probably gonna bleed out. Yeah, definitely. He's dead. Like that guy, his chest, negative 85. Once it gets to 100, he's just instantly dead. So the yellow part of the sneak is just my own people who aren't gonna do anything. So 100% steal chance. Grab the katanas. I always grab the weapons of these guys. And the boots are not bad. They're not great. It's only 90, but they're small, and they're decent armor. And Jolteon's all filled up. Flare and Vaporhorn are completely empty at this point, and Eevee's filled up, and then Jolteon's just holding meat, mostly. So, this is why I'm, like, right now I'm saying, hey, this is how much stock is here. So, later, once we're done looting, you'll see, like, holy shit, that's so much stuff. And you kind of see, like, why it's worth going through all this trouble. And, like, that's the 900 cat Naginata. And that's not even, like, a good one. You know? Like, what, 12 of those, and you can join the Thieves Guild? Alright, looks like one of them is getting up. I was gonna come over here, let him heal, do some trading. It's less likely for them to notice you have stolen gear if it's in a pack animal. So if you go by a gate guard and you have like contraband, like drugs, or you have stolen stuff, they might notice and be like, hey, you're under arrest, you're a criminal. If you're sneaking, it's less likely. If you're in very good relations with them, it's less likely. If you're in bad relations, it's more likely to be like bad shit happen. Um, if it's in the pack animal, I don't see the check even happen. I've never had any problems it being in a pack animal, like ever. I know for at least a while, the game just never checked pack animals for stolen gear. Like if you're a guard or whatever, it has never happened. And I remember at some point they changed it but it was like broken or something, and then it went away, and ever since it went away, I don't know if it came back or not. I've never seen it again. Like, that might just be like by the time it came back, if it ever came back, I was always so good relations that anywhere I went, smuggling gear just wasn't a problem. But, or maybe it just doesn't work. I'm not sure about that. Hopefully I'll find out in this playthrough if it happens. But hasn't happened in so many years, ever since it was broken for a while, where they just like because pack animals don't exactly have good sneak, and it's sort of based off sneak. It just be like, and you couldn't like level sneak very well with pack animals because the game was just like, we don't want them to be sneaky for the stealth reasons because they're like big. They want there to be risk of being hard to sneak with pack animals. They didn't want it to be impossible to smuggle with pack animals, which is why it's like was broken. That was like a long time ago. Alright. Eevee's pretty full, so I'm gonna put a little bit into Jolteon, but I'm not gonna say that way for this minute. Look at some of these values. These aren't even good. This is literal junk grade for a lot of the stuff. And some of the armor is not as good as the weapons. And I could have just looted the weapons and not looted some of this armor. Like, that chest piece is worth more than, like, any of the armor I've looted so far. And that's off, like, bandits. Not good stuff. But it's still, it's money. And it's money that also has a lot of weight to it, and a lower level pack animals, which helps them get higher strengths. And if I can boost those levels while they're low, it'll be easier. And once they get bigger, the multiplier alter their stats. So I sort of need to get their EXP now. So it's part of why I did it, and also part of it was I just wanted to get in, loot stuff, and get out. But I only have so much time with all of those mercenaries, contract-wise. So that guy's fun. So when you get bigger squads and get to the point where you start recruiting people, this is a great place to find recruits if there's like a downed high paladin, a paladin, samurai, which is quite often, especially ones with missing limbs. You can take them, you can heal them up, you can pick them up, and take them back to a base, throw them in a jail cell, and try to convince them to join you. And when they do, that missing limb means you can put on a really good robot limb, immediately boost their stats a bit, and get like something that's already a decent level fighter that you didn't have to take out, that you didn't have to really do anything other than kidnap unconscious, missing arm guy who's bleeding out, who you also then saved the life of because, you have to do the medicine to stop him from bleeding, right? So you get positive and negative karma from that sort of cancels out. And then you get a new samurai or new high paladin or whatever. And with robot limbs, they can be very useful because once you get the really good fast legs and like industrial lifter arms, all of a sudden you can just put them in the heaviest gear. They still move really quickly, and they have very high strengths and dex now, and that's really useful. Like plus like 50% or so speed from like between the two master legs. I don't remember the stats offhand. It's like estimated, like roughly. This is like stupid. And then increase strength, increase the carry capacity. So now they have like 60, 70, 80 kilo carry capacity. You get them in like heavy legs, heavy, helmet, heavy chain, heavy armor, a weapon, backpack, and they're still running full speed. It's amazing. So get a ton of guys like that, and then you can start like really, really fucking up like enemies. And you don't have to take out the samurais. You don't have to like, get too much negative karma. Alright. So this is something I already made a video of that I released about. I think. No, that's just that one guy. So he noticed us, and now it's all of us fighting that one guy. He's already down. So he's got 1,000 on that sword. Hat's not that valuable, but it has some very good as an armor once you get the better quality stuff. Pants are decent. I don't think I grabbed the pants. Only worth 100. But most importantly, oh wait, there's 2 of these samurais. That's one I already looted. This is why you always grab the swords first, because if they get up and they don't have a weapon, like they're, they're not that scary of martial arts. It's not like you're fighting like the what do you call it, the band of bones. Google band of bones kenshi. Yes, band of bones. Those guys, they have very good martial arts. They will fuck you up. I think some of the crab bandits, yes, crab raiders. Crab raiders can have some decent martial arts. That can be a problem. We have also the gorillo bandits. Gorillo bandits, yes, gorillo bandits. Their martial arts is some of the best in the game of like anyone you'll come across. Like this, it's like an actual spot, as opposed to like that one guy who just is in that one spot and is unique, whatever. Anyway, so at this point, I am running away. I already released a short video on this, but TLDR, those high class nobles that I'm always talking about who have all those elite bodyguards randomly attack you, they showed up while I was looting. I fucked up. I should have been looking around more. And so I was like, okay, I have bodyguards. The bodyguards will defend me. In the meantime, I'm running the fuck away. I can come back after the fight's over and they're all gone and give medical assistance to the people still alive. But one of them followed me. Actually, two of them followed me, but one of them got distracted by a Tech Ninja. Thank you, Tech Ninja. Died doing what you loved. Getting paid. Anywho. Currently, only have a -1, which is, big deal. So I did not want to fight that guy, but I was not outrunning him with Eevee. I was not, out juking him. Eevee was going down. And I saw that bone dog. I said, okay, I'll head towards the bone dog. Eevee will go down. He'll fight the bone dog. Maybe he'll go back to the main battle. And I knew he's going to kill the bone dog. But I was thinking, okay, move these guys over here, put them on hold. Maybe this is all over. I can just go pick up Eevee. But no. Alas. I wanted to stay close, but not too close, because Eevee is dying. He started to come towards me. This is the point where I'm like, okay, I need to give medical attention to Eevee, or Eevee's gonna die, and that's unacceptable. So, hold it off. Gonna have Beep run off and give medical attention to Eevee, because I just do not want to risk it. If he takes us all out, this way at least Eevee will live. Hopefully. And we have 5x, 4v1, 5v1. It's not that big of a difference. Especially since he has such a big blade that hits such a wide area. So I'm spacing my people out so he can hopefully only hit 1 or 2 of us at a time. And I'm watching where he's looking so I can run away and come back into combat and try to control when he attacks and who he attacks and where. And try to get those attacks to miss while other people hit him from other directions. Try to not bunch up, micro. If you've ever watched, someone play Age of Empires at a high level or StarCraft, you've seen similar stuff. But the difference is you have a space bar. You can just pause the game, go, pause, go. And it makes it easier. So he's starting to look around. And that's worrisome because he might be moving his aggro, which he did do. He moved the Flareon. And Flareon, with a lot of the animals, once they start an attack, it doesn't stop unless they die. So this, goes through the animes. But we're hitting him. He's got a lot of head damage. He's got 8 HP on his head. Those hoods are not that great of armor. And we got him. Okay. First concern, getting his sword, because fuck that guy. I don't want him to get up and fuck us. Game is paused. Next most important concern is medicine. And at first it was like, Flareon? Oh wait, no. Eevee. How's Eevee doing? Eevee's bleeding out. Eevee's not doing so good. A lot of these other guys they're not dying, but Eevee's dying. So time to double up, have Beep and Hammett first aid on Eevee. Do worst condition people first. The people who have less serious wounds can wait, or animals in this case. And do need to do something about that bone dog. Gonna have Hammett trade with Flareon real quick, because it'll take less time with pausing to trade, get rid of that stuff, and then run to Eevee. And right now seconds count, because bleeding out. And even though seconds count, game's paused, so I can take a second to actually look at what I'm doing. So, no longer heavy. Run back. Click medical again, do first aid. Game sun pause. the battle's going on over there, but I'm far enough away where they shouldn't aggro on me. Usually. Sometimes Kenshi's a bit weird. And here I was thinking, oh, he got back up. So that's the samurai scout that we took all the stuff off earlier. And he just ran over to us, assumably because he was fighting the tech hunter that came this way. Off screen, while we were fighting the hooded guy. So I'm just looting the bone dog here real quick, just to make sure the bone dog stays dead. Because if that bone dog gets up, it's gonna be a problem. With, you know, Evie's hurt, right? Beep has one arm. Beep cannot pick up anyone. Jolteon, Flare, and Vaporeon cannot pick up anyone they're at. So Hammett is the only person that can carry people who are injured, like Eevee. And Hammett is going to be carrying Eevee. Meaning, until I get more people with arms, or another arm, I can't carry the wounded, so I have to stay with the wounded and guard them, and I can't just run away. Which, you know, is a problem if I get one more person taken out. So that, I think, is the guy, the hooded, yeah, it's the hooded guy. So he did eventually get back up. Thankfully, we looted him already. So he doesn't have good weapons. He doesn't have good armor. He's fighting unarmed. His unarmed is not good. And he's already got a lot of head damage. He didn't have any medicine to heal himself. But yeah, my stats are not good, but they're going up. They're good enough to take out a hooded Empire guard. What's this? Samurai guard. It's like, what? What? Anywho. I think I was doing, talking about something or about weapons and EXP and how all stuff worked at that point. No, it's probably really just strengths and yeah, strengths with Hammett and how he's carrying the bull and how it's increasing his strength more, and it's like a double your strength EXP up to a certain point, and also saying, hey, he's carrying a bull. It should probably lower his dodge, but it doesn't. That's weird. If you think, okay, if I'm carrying like something big, that should lower my dodge, right? If I'm over encumbered, that should lower my dodge. But it's weird. Dodge is just like, do you have armor on? Okay, that's it. Which is a bit unusual. So, looking around, now that all this adventuring is done, and I am not seeing a lot going on. There's some people moving over there. Looks like the fight's over. All the people moving around are friendlies. So this is when I come back, start healing people. No idea where they went. Looking around, don't see them. So I have all these guards. They're still on contract. Most of them are really fucked up. He's got a ton of chest damage. Some of them are missing limbs. He's got chest and head damage. Like, they're not doing so good. So running back, doing as much healing as I can before they start dying. Like, these guys are hurt, but they're still going to do everything they can to protect them for at least a while. Plus, there's more people to loot. Anywho. Kind of sad. So many of my guys went down, and most importantly, the mercenary captain went down. That's a big deal. Because without the mercenary captain, I can't rehire the mercenaries when they run out of time. Stone the slave Normally, those guys will carry a couple slaves with them, the nobles, and that's who he was one of them. And the slaves, they don't have, they're basically like starving bandits, you know. They don't have stats, they don't have gear, not worth looting. Anywho, after battle cleanup, do medical stuff, and you do get like levels for this. So not only am I building rep with the mercenaries by doing first aid to all these mercenaries, I'm also leveling my stats and I have all of the stolen medical stuff. So like the more, you know, whatever I'm trading, like I have so much medical stuff is really worth it. And not just because getting more relations slowly building up, getting more experience slowly building up, but also any of these guys who can get back up and keep guarding me will make me more protected, even though, you know, they're not my people. But hey, it's like 2 more Naganatas at least. I can see you lying around on the ground. Very concerned about any of you people getting up and starting another fight. With so many of our people already down. But also very concerned with these guys getting up. Flarion's now basically full. Eevee's full. Jolteon's getting there. We got a ton of conscripts to loot. Look at that, 903 for that Naginata. Nice. Shirt's pretty nice. Only weighs 1, 2. Anywho, some of our people are getting up. They're dealing with the occasional waking up samurai. Thankfully, none of them are too scary. The hooded guys are gone, the noble's gone. Now, I could have looted some of these downed guys, but that I didn't do because it wasn't really worth the negative rep or the chance of losing my bodyguards, especially when they're just going to save my life. Like, if all those guys attacked me and didn't have any bodyguards, I would have been so fucked. No way I'm outrunning them all. No way I'm outrunning them all and then, like, coming back to heal the pack animals after they get down. Because the pack animals are just slow as fuck. Like, when a guy in a fucking desert in full plate armor is outrunning your pack animal, you know it's slow. You know? But they'll grow up, they'll get faster. Just keeping an eye out, don't want to repeat. Anywho, Eevee's gonna wake up eventually. Eevee's full. Jolteon's almost full. Flarion's almost full, like 99%. And Vaporeon's like half full. So I need to find somewhere to sell all this stuff pretty soon. And my short list is there's a place to the north. And I didn't remember exactly where it was. But I also want to see if I can find the Amorphous loot. So what these guys are telling me is that there's a fight somewhere back the way they're coming. And that where they're headed, there's more samurai. This is that way. Somewhere. That tells me there's a fight somewhere over here, but I don't currently see it. Don't think I find this one. I think it happened a while ago, and like all the people was getting up. So have that mercenary still following me around. And I think 3 technicians at this point, and little by little, more people show up as they catch up, wake up, whatever. Some of these hamlets have good loot, some of them don't. They're little destroyed towns. If I remember correctly, one of them has a bounty somewhere, but I don't remember which one. Also, Evie is now has 1 on his stomach and a negative 23 on his leg. So he's constant. I could put him down. But I'm not going to do that for a while at this point. Just because with such a low HP on that leg, he's going to move really slow. And Hammett carrying him is faster at the moment. So ideally, I'd like to get a little bit more loot out of this place before I get out of here. I've got some experience here, but mostly I've just got loot. And I had to pay what, like total at this point of somewhere around, I think 16K for the bodyguards over the last couple days. Like I've already paid for all, well, no, maybe it's at 12. I think at this point I paid for the techs twice. And I paid for the samurai, no, the mercenary once. So I think, and doing the 2 day thing, this is 4K. But yeah, I think I have to pay 12K to them over the last couple days already at this point. And I need to be able to make that and then some to get profit. And even though it's about 1K per naginata, that's basically all my naginatas in value. And then what I have left, with a lot of the armor is not that valuable. I have a couple katanas. But over here, you can see there's some paladins, and so far running around this time, I've found paladins not that often, and I've been finding samurai everywhere. You can see, like, behind the rocks that just looked over there, there was some samurai, and there's 2 groups of paladins over there. I'm like, okay, that seems pretty good. Wolves. Fucking wolves. So, whenever you see, like, blank has been wiped out, like, this game is crazy. Like, it's not just keeping track of what you, the player, is doing. You are not the player. You are an NPC in this world. Everyone's an NPC in this world. And it's keeping track of what you're doing, it's keeping track of what all these other guys are doing. It's not treating you too special. And I mean, from a hardware perspective, like a game engine perspective, yeah, it's not rendering everything. But there is events going on elsewhere in the game, like all the time. Like, it's possible for reactive world state changes to happen with no intervention at all from the player. Like, one day a very important NPC could like go outside of his city to fight some bandits or whatever near the city and aggro on them. And then, oh look, some other groups coming nearby and then he aggroes on them and dies and then the city gets taken over by someone else. You know? Like, this game's crazy sometimes. So people traveling around will run into groups of animals, groups of bandits, whatever, and wipe them out in case, or get wiped out. You'll find completely unrelated stuff just randomly will be like, hey, there's a battle here, or hey, this person lost a limb and has been crawling through the desert for like months. And you'll just find them randomly, and the whole group is gone. It's just this one guy with no legs in the middle of nowhere. Stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. Anywho, fight going on right now. It's killing some bone dogs. But what I'm interested about is paladin samurais. It is getting dark. There's samurais over there, the paladins over here. Ideally, they start fighting, but it takes a minute. There is a fight that happens eventually, and I go do some moving, but not yet. Meantime, hey, free bone dog skins. Free teeth. Teeth are very good value for the sides. They're not like the best, but like they're worth grabbing. It's because they're like so small and so light. You can have so many in like weird spots. A lot of times you'll have them in somewhere where you couldn't put anything else other than the teeth. So, they're worth grabbing. This random bone dog walks by me. Like, they're already dead. Not my problem. I was thinking, like, how can I... But I couldn't. Can't make it fit. And those guys never ended up fighting. Feels bad. Like, they're right there. They're right there. But yeah, there comes one of my tech ninjas. Hey guys. Like, it's so close. Like, why? Why did they not aggro? Like, now they're not that close. They were. And they aggro one. They got one holy chosen, and nobody else gets involved. And then they go the other way because they're like, maybe we're fucked. But there's another group of samurai over here. I think that little group merges with them, if I remember right. But eventually I go loot that guy. I wanted to give the samurai a wide berth, so I'm sure if they're still aggro on me or not. I didn't have a little wanted poster next to my name, but I wanted to be super safe. I still would like to get a little bit more loot. The Jolteon can carry some stuff, Vaporeon can carry some stuff, and Beep and Hammock can carry some stuff. And I was hoping to find some more stuff at some of those hammocks and still like see which ones have good stuff because it's been so long I don't remember. Because I've like looted like once you like get past the early game, you go by those places and are like, I don't care. Like it's not worth my time for that little bit of money. Like events like what we're doing now is okay for like early game, but eventually we're gonna stop doing this looting every like like going places where you can loot stuff, selling it, loot stuff, sell stuff. This sort of like hunter gatherer, except for just gathering for the most part. We don't actually fight unless we get attacked. But eventually gonna start doing some other stuff once we get our stats high enough. But we're not there yet. What I'd like to do is show off how to do drug running, show off how to do like what else? I don't want to do any market stuff. I don't want to do any like mining stuff to make stuff to sell it because that's a big time sink, and it's also a big time sink that's like not very interesting to watch. And that's something where maybe it does make sense to fast forward, because it's just once you have somebody start mining off somewhere, it's like they're just doing the same actions over and over and over and over and over and over and over. While this is a lot more like what's over here, and not like all the same. Just mine rock, turn it into steel, turn it into copper, turn that into something else. Planks are really, really good. If you mess with the game settings for damage, they become even better. The main problem with planks is weight, especially early game when you don't have enough strength to really wield them. You really shouldn't, because you'll just be sitting there for like a minute getting attacked, not doing anything, and then every now and then you'll like have one swing. It's like it's essentially just sitting there getting pummeled. And also, you're moving very slow while you have the thing. Fuck cannibals. So cannibals do come here, which is something you gotta worry about. But it's very rare to see large groups of cannibals. And when you do, run away. And hopefully run towards paladins or empires so they fight the cannibals. Because cannibals are hostile to like everyone, other than other cannibals. And with certain mods, they are hostile to each other. There'll be different tribes of cannibals that don't get along. But I'm trying to stay more basic. Anywho, this battle's going on. Exciting. I think the samurai are gonna win this one. There's a decent amount of holy nation, but they're not doing so well. If you look, like, there are more higher level samurais and there are higher level paladins, and a lot of the people like paladin got folks with armor are sentinels, and sentinels are like not great. Like a conscript is roughly equal as a sentinel, like not quite, but pretty close. Especially outdoors. Indoors, a sentinel starts to get more of a bonus because not getting honest. But their armor is about equal. The samurai conscripts don't have very good leg protection and arm protection. They're very good chest, stomach, head. Unless they're a Shek and they have no helmet on. But the sentinels, they pretty similar. They have decent chest protection, but not as good leg protection and not very good arm protection, like horrible arm protection. So about equal armor wise on average. Like and everyone's far above like basically not even dust bandit level for the holy Nathan conscripts. Like the dust bandits legitimately have better armor on average than like these guys which are like starving vagrants or starving bandits or whatever level armor. Like this is cloth pants, cloth shirt, no helmet, and a big sword. Oh no. A skimmer. Oof, 89 on Volteon. Twice. That hurt. Anywho, got a fair amount of tech ninjas following me right now, including the high rank tech ninja, which is very good. These guys are running around healing each other. Battle's over, for the most part. And I can't do anything about this mercenary guild, because the leader of the mercenary guild is somewhere in a ditch. And I have to talk to the leader, not this any mercenary member. And because he's out of the picture, I can't rehire them, and it was gone. It's okay. But I'll play dead, Holy Nathan. So, before that fight just happened, was that guy who should have played dead, but didn't, for some stupid reason. They were moving in the opposite direction I'm currently moving, so I'm going around to try to, like, get close to the battle from their backside when they leave. But the AI does funny things sometimes. They won the fight, now this... Oh, I guess we'll just stick around here for a minute. And then go in a completely different random direction for no apparent reason. But hey, that's got 2 scouts. You got the sergeant in the front. Whole lot of samurai conscripts. And samurai. A lot of people limping away, but damn. They fucked up the Holy Nays. So this is the second battlefield to loot. It wasn't like the biggest battle ever, but the Holy Nathan swords are decent value. The Paladin crosses are like 1,000 each. Some of them more, some of them less. It's about average. And the smaller swords, the Sentinels, the guy have, is like a couple hundred. The hack class weapons, they're not amazing, they're not horrible. A lot of their armor is not something that worth looting because it's big and heavy, but I think I do loot a little bit of it. But there's just so many down Holy Nays. It's wonderful. So, if you had a bigger squad and were recruiting, this is the time I'd go in. I wouldn't loot anything. I'd just heal people who, especially the Holy Nays people who are missing limbs, who are high enough level that I want to hire them, and just pick them up. Because the Empire doesn't care if I'm picking up Holy Nays. Just don't pick any samurai up. Wait for them to leave, then pick up any samurai you want to get. And then get out of there, throw them in jail for fruit. But, looks like it's just Holy Nathan left at this point. So I can come in here. Tech hunters are like, oh look, someone needs medical assistance. So I'll put down EVs, doing much better. Better than Jolteon. They heal a lot quicker than us humanoids do. So I'm just gonna instantly start looting because I'm like, I don't care. If a fight happens, a fight happens. These guys are all fucked up. Doing it pause because that gives them less time to react. So running back a bit, giving my bodyguards a chance to get into the front lines. And if they aggro on my my main squad running away, just running past the tech hunters, giving the tech hunters free hits. Like, this is really overkill. Like, it's a holy sentinel. I don't need to be microing this much against him. Alright, doesn't hurt. Yeah, that armor, it's got not great arm leg coverage, which is a big problem because you can only get arm coverage from the armor on your chest or your shirt. You can't get it from your leg armor, obviously, and you can't get it from your head armor. So like, if your armor doesn't cover your head very well, you could have a helmet that does. If it doesn't cover your stomach very well, you could have pants that do, and the armor under that armor. But if you don't have any arm coverage, you're kind of in trouble because you will take hits to your arm, and that can be a big, big problem. Because even if it doesn't like remove the arm, if it's just disabled and I can't use the arm, and I'm using like a big two-handed weapon, that's a big deal. And if I'm using my offhand, that gives me a negative to my attack stats. So that's still a big deal. Anywho, loot time. It's like a looter shooter, except for, no shooting. And everyone has shitty armor. I cry. But 649 on that hacker. Like, that's pretty decent. And there's just so many guys here. Like, I really need to focus on the swords. In hindsight, I probably could have done this a little better, got less armor. I have a lot of armor worth like 100. And I'm keeping this paused a lot of time because I'm worried about these guys getting up. I want to try to loot everyone with a sword before they start getting up. I think in the original script, original recording that didn't, record right, I was talking about the various hackers and the pros and cons and how the crosses are just so much better. Except for, weight's a problem. And pros and cons of them, how this does better damage to robots, has armor penetration, and the leviathan animals. Well, this has leviathan animals and humans for the cross, the big one. But it's got better stats, better damage, better robot damage, better defensive bonus, but with an indoor penalty. But the indoor penalty is sort of like not that big of a deal. Like, how many fights have I gotten in indoors at this point? None, right? Like, literally none. And I'm like, this is episode 4, I believe. It's kind of crazy. Heck. Anywho, kind of crazy how expensive this is. Like, it makes sense that huge metal costs money. But, like, take out a ton of paladins, get a couple of those, and all of a sudden you're like thousands, tens of thousands. Like, and you don't even have to take them out a lot of time. You can just get them to fight someone else, like, or just follow them around until they do. Like, areas where there's a ton of skimmers. Just hang out in the desert, wait for them to go down, loot them. Places, like the fog, where the fogmen have all the captured stuff. If you hang out where the fog fight the paladins, the fogmen usually lose. So every now and then you can get a prince, get some good stuff. But they'll often just pure numbers take down some paladins. So paladins move on, you get some loot. Tetris. But like most of the last like 5 minutes of this has gone by in the course of like a couple seconds. Here comes some samurais, but I haven't looted any samurais. They're perfectly okay with me. I'm looting literal enemies in the state. They're the farms. Yeah, not quite. I do a lot of Tetris. Too much Tetris. I sort of just looked at some of those pants and armor and just tossed them. But a lot of them are probably only worth like 100. I think some of the boots are worth only around 100. Or like if I toss a boot, it's worth like 90 or whatever. Two of those. And get a sword worth like 600. Makes sense. The event was Jolteon, I'm just like, huh. Okay. Maybe it is time. Loot management is always a chore in this game. That's why I brought 4 of these things. So I'm trying to like maximize the amount of loot I can carry within these guys. But if this is like something that really grinds your gears, if you're looking at this being like, I'm spending so much time doing this, you can just have more pack animals and at some point just be like, I've done enough loot management, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. And you won't, maximize how much loot you get, but, you just spend less time, you know, whatever works for you, So many of these things. Kitty candy store. Oh, this game of Tetris. It's crazy. I have so much meat at this point. Keeping the foul stuff that's only good for animals. Well, basically everyone but Hammett. Like, it also has a low value. It just doesn't make sense because, like, I can always get more. I can always get more. No room. I think in the future, I'm probably be doing less inventory management. Like, a lot of this could be solved in hindsight by just looking at some of those lower value armors and just tossing. Because like the average price of these swords is so much higher, and there are just so many of them. So many. And if you notice, not all of them are the same color. The different colors mean that they're different qualities. So if you do this enough, you can kind of look at the swords, not even put your mouse over it, know what quality it is. And sometimes even without it, like it's different in the map too, like the overworld. So sometimes you can just look at someone's sword and be like, oh, it's like this rusty color, like a rusty yellow, orange color. That's a low quality. And then you look at another one, it's like, oh, it's like a white color. That's a really good one. I want that. Oh, right. No racism. Honestly, my skin's more of a rusty yellow orange color. Uh, anyway, uh, what is it? The edge walkers, I believe, are this like white color for the Nodachis. For no apparent reason. These are. Pay no attention to the color codes. Like, blue and green are some of the best gear other than the white gear. Yeah, there's no correlation. 5. It's 5. So, do end up grabbing some of these Naganatas. Naganata's sexy. Naganatas are really sexy. Honestly. Like, so when I'm not doing this crazy Kenshi stuff, one of the things I do is collect antique swords and other, I got axes, I've got swords, I've got spears, bayonets, all sorts of stuff. Like antique daggers, fun stuff. And uh, one of the other things I do is I have to do all this research into it to like really understand like what's legit, what's not legit. And one of those things is every now and then I'll be helping people identify what they have online. Or sometimes in person, where people go online and be like, "What is this thing I have?" on various places throughout the internet, and something I do partially because it's like just nice, and to people partly because like I enjoy it. This is sort of like partly it's good practice because it helps. Like if I have to do all this research for some things, like a lot of stuff, I just look at it and I instantly like, oh, it's that. It's from this book. It's from this resource, whatever. But sometimes I'll see something that's like it looks like this. I'll like recognize various bits of it from various cultures or parts in history, but I don't know like the exact model number or if it's like not a military thing. It's like a civilian weapon. It's like okay, that looks like a Indian tulwar, but it has some weird bits about it, and I'll like do some more research and be like, oh, it's like this specific type of tulwar from this part of the world or whatever, or like you know fun stuff. And then one day I'm looking through various auctions and be like, oh look, there's that one type of tulwar from forever ago, or whatever. Anywho, I did a really cool Naginata once. This guy, his grandpa brought it back from World War II, and he played with it as a kid. And he threw it, and it hit a piece of wood and broke the tip off just a little tiny bit, and like not the whole tip. It's like about half an inch to an inch of the tip is just gone. And when I was researching it, it had a mark that was a very common mark that like I cannot read kanji. I can do like katakana, hiragana, okay, but kanji is just like what the fuck? There's like over 100,000 symbols. It's crazy. So like there's a few of them I know, but like a very few, like not even 1%. It's so much kanji. But lots of other people do that and do the translations. And what I do is look up all these museum examples, and mostly this, like for Japanese stuff, if it's not a military issue, I'm mostly just there asking for more photos so someone else doesn't have to ask for more photos, because they almost always need more photos. Like, almost always. Like, people will take a one photo from like far away indoors, not ideal lighting, and be like, hey, what is this? And I'm like, okay, it has marks. I can tell they're the mark, but with, you know, the lighting and the distance and the resolution, is like nothing's visible. And, you know, blades have two sides, and you can only see one side of the blade. You can't see like all this other stuff. Yeah. Anywho, in researching that Naginata, I found an exact copy of it, basically. Uh, like the fullers were painted same color and all that stuff. You know, there's differences in the shaft, but the uh shafts get changed over the years. And the one I found, I believe, was 16th century by pretty famous smiths. And the mark of the one was, if I remember right, it was like a generic mark, whereas like a mark that of someone who was commonly copied and found all throughout different periods. So it wasn't like a legit mark of something. It's like saying something's a Nike shoe, and there's like a million Nike knockoffs. Well, with antiques, you find that a lot too, well, in Japan at least. A lot of other places as well, but like, especially Japan, because in period, people would say, oh, this was made by like, uh, darn, what's, like a Matsumain. Like, Matsumain, one of the best, if not the best, sword maker of all time in Japan, specifically. But like, you'll see knockoff Matsumains, for instance, and there's only so many of them, and they're extremely valuable, extremely sought after. So people nowadays will fake it, but people 1,000 years ago, or not 1,000, but like 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 years ago would fake it because they could, and you know, the average, you know, soldier or noble or whatever in Japan probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, and they wouldn't. Then at the time there was no NBTHK to keep track of all this stuff, so they wouldn't know like how many Massamains there are in the world, you know, in like 1800s Japan. So there could theoretically be one that they didn't know about, and that makes sense. So, you know, someone has one if it looks right, if it looks like the, you know, if it's a good sword, but not a Massamain sword, but it says it's a Massamain sword, they might buy it thinking it is a Massamain sword. Yada yada. Like, fake Nikes have been around for forever, or at least in theory, or fake. I don't even know what do people fake. Let's think. What's valuable that people bother to fake? Well, I do all this inventory management for days. I don't even know. Like clothing. Nope. Swords. Anywho, very, very similar to this 16th century one, which was pretty cool. And we weren't able to get a date off the maker because it was, you know, a commonly fake mark that didn't match it. But the get an approximate date based off the style and it being identical to this other one, which does have a date. With, you know, in theory, it could be a later period one or an earlier period one, where it was made to look like this other period stuff, which does happen from time to time. You'll see small swords a lot. You'll see small swords in like the 20th century that are based off small swords from earlier periods, from like the 18th, 19th, 17th, 16th century. Sometimes you'll see that in Japanese swords too, but there's no reason to think that other, like, to think if a style is of a certain period, there's no reason to think it isn't from that period if there's no evidence that it isn't from that period. But there is evidence that it could be from that period besides stylistic. You feel? So it's not definitely from there, but it's probably from there because we don't have any other evidence suggesting any other period. Then when that stylistic type from Naganato, like, design was around. And they were used in war in the 1600s and like the 1500s and 1700s, but they sort of fall out of style and become this like home defense weapon where once like sort of the age of the samurai starts to, and it became less of a weapon for soldiers and more of a weapon to be inside your house for like your wife or kids to use to defend yourself if they or themselves if they had to, and to just sit somewhere in the house. Anywho, gonna rehire these tech hunters. Here's some money. Still got a couple of them, and their stats are much better than our stats. So like 3 or 4 tech hunters could take out like a empire samurai or two, and we could between all of the bulls, Hammett and Beep, take out maybe 1 or 2. So that's like not nothing. It's significant combat boost, basically doubled or more. And I would have to be focusing on like doing all this micro to get little, make this guy miss here, make that guy miss here, while I could just not worry about these other guys. So right now, what I'm looking for is there's a small city somewhere around here. Uh, most of the cities have been destroyed. One city is still around, and it's like a mess, and I don't remember exactly where it is. So I'm gonna be spending the rest of this running around looking for it, trying to find it, and then eventually I'm like, oh, time to call it a day in like a minute or two. I started realizing, wait a minute, I've been streaming recording for like 2 hours. Holy shit! Holy shit! Anywho, next one I'm going to be testing all of the new NVEC with CBQ and see if I can get better quality video. Because at first I thought, oh, it's just YouTube being YouTube and doing stuff. But now I'm starting to think maybe some of it is not YouTube being YouTube. Anywho, this is it. See ya.